In this video, I'm going to be sharing how to grow your influence with collaborations and also some of the biggest mistakes people make when reaching out for collaborations, as well as my best tips for getting people to say yes and really find you so you can get more views, get more subscribers, all with the power of collaborations. But hey, if we're just meeting, my name is Sean and my passion is to help you build your influence with online video. And this channel is all about the tips and tools to do that. Now, we just had a failed stream. So we're back up and I'm actually going to start from the top of the content. And so thanks for your patience. Technical difficulties happen, right? But I'm pumped for the content today. And I believe that I can see you. I think the audio should be synced up now too. Let me know if it is. I switched cameras. Still working out the technical difficulties. Collector's Edition, Life of Mike, Fred Rick. Thanks for being here. Let's dive into the content. And so here we go. We're talking today about how to grow your influence with collaborations. And if we're just meeting, yes, my passion is to help you build your influence with video. I hear that the audio synced up, everything's good. Let's go. Here we go. All right. Hey, sharing's caring. We just lost the stream, so if you can spread the word about it, that would be awesome so people can find this newest link, tweet it out, Instagram, Snap, LinkedIn, whatever. And hey, if you're on the rebroadcast, definitely spread the word. Maybe you know somebody who wants to build their influence with video. They're going to love this training and this content. And so our mission today is to get into this training. We're also going to go into share a little bit about a brand new mini course that we just launched, and then we will get to your questions as well. And so why collaborations, partnerships, and interviews though first? Why collaborations? And the reason is because collaboration is multiplication. You know, John Maxwell, probably one of the greatest leadership teachers of all time, said that quote, and I totally believe that because collaboration multiplies everything. We're stronger together. We can do more together. You know, when we're alone, we're vulnerable, but when we team up, we're stronger. Plus, collaboration it multiplies things. You get more views, you could get more subscribers, you could get more exposure, you get sharper, you get smarter. There's so many benefits for collaboration. And what I love is that as you study history, collaborations are something that, you know, especially in the recent years, have been so powerful. This is Paul McCartney and John Lennon. And they were actually, you know, from the Beatles. And they were a highly competitive duo that actually frequently challenged each other. So they had this relationship of one-upmanship that actually pushed each other to their creative best. And so that's why partnerships, that's why collaborating is good, because you can take your content to another level. And without each other, who's to say that the Beatles would have ever become, well, the Beatles, right? And this is Steven Spielberg and John Williams. And together they brought moviegoers such classic theme music as Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, and Jaws. And so you've got Steven Spielberg with his director skill. You've got John Williams with his music skill, creating incredible works that couldn't happen without each other. And let's do that here on YouTube, right? And we're seeing collaborations happen in all kinds of industries. Lots of industries are crossing over with collaborations, whether that's Disney and Vans, like how cool is that? Or just, you know, different fashion brands, or like makeup brand MAC and cosmetics working with musician Lorde. Like all these different collaborations, other industries are understanding how powerful this is. We really need to realize that, of course, we know it's on YouTube, but that it needs to be like a big deal because collaborations and partnerships just elevate everything. Remember, collaboration is multiplication. And then this one of my favorites, it's one of the probably the most classic collaborations in hip hop history, and that's Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, right? And at the time when this single came out, nobody really knew who Snoop Dogg was. Like today, that seems crazy if you follow hip hop because everybody knows who he is. But at the time, nobody knew who he was. But check this out. You can see that this song was produced by Dre, but who was it written by? Just Snoop. Snoop has the full songwriting credit. So he wrote Dre's verse and his own verse. And so when we see this collaboration, we saw that Dr. Dre had platform. He had an audience. He had exposure. But Snoop had talent. He had skill to bring. He had value to bring to the table. So then when they got together, the song blows up. Dr. Dre gets value. Snoop gets value. And both of their careers go forward from the power of collaboration. And then, of course, on YouTube, we know that collaborations are so powerful. And so let's talk about it, though. Like, what are some of the benefits of collaborations? You know, number one, you get an exposure to a new audience. And so when you collaborate, you can meet new people. And one of the things that I think happens is we have this feeling like if we're a gaming channel, the only way we could collaborate and blow up is if we got on PewDiePie's channel. Now, I know that's an extreme example. He's the largest YouTuber, gaming. But there's so many, steps in between working with some giant YouTuber and trying to just have them shout you out and blow you up. Like, you could just get exposure to one person. 2 people. If you have 100 subscribers, collaborate with somebody who has 10. You might meet 2 more people. And never forget that YouTube channels grow 1 subscriber at a time. Add value, create awesome content, and realize that collaborations give you an exposure to a new audience. They also double the talent and they split the work. When you're by yourself, you got to do everything. If you're Dr. Dre, you need to write the song, produce the song, edit the song. But as soon as you collaborate, you just split the work. Now he can produce, I think, do the music, do the beat, and then Snoop can write the lyrics, and then you make a hit because 2 people got together and created something awesome together by doubling the talent and splitting the work. You also level up your content. Like, especially as a YouTuber, you know what it's like to try to shoot content by yourself. And so I've noticed lately as I've been collaborating, and I don't just mean like with another YouTuber. If you collaborate with photographers or videographers, one person's just kind of helping us out for the summer. We met, his name's Kyle, and, it's somebody who's just working with us. He's working for free. He's kind of interning, but it's collaboration. So now our photography is going up. Our B-roll is going up because when you're by yourself, you can't film yourself, without a selfie stick as well. But as soon as you add someone else into the mix, your content can go to another level. Plus, they're super fun, right? Like, why not just do a collaborate? They also build your network. And so beyond the collaboration itself, you've probably made a friendship, an acquaintance, a connection. And that can lead to future things in future opportunities. It can open future doors. Maybe for them, you add value to each other. I heard a quote that said, "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future." So when you build your network and you surround yourself with, achievers and forward-thinking people and creatives and people who love online video or love your niche, like, it just helps you go further faster, and it builds your social network. And that is very powerful. And then, of course, iron sharpens iron. I found that whenever I collaborate, I get smarter. I get to ask them questions. I learn from them. I learn from whoever I'm collaborating with. I get other insights. So we get better. Why? Because collaboration multiplies everything. And then it can also lead to other opportunities. It might just start with one simple video, but 2 years later, it could lead to some kind of partnership, or it could lead to some kind of joint venture that is very beneficial to both people. But I asked you guys on Twitter just a few kind of mini survey. What's your biggest collab challenge? And so George said, finding people to work with that are in my area. Marco, distance. Will, finding people to work with, right? And so when it comes to finding people to work with, I want to give you a few tips and practical things. And the first one is to think outside the box. And here's what I mean. What if you collaborated with a local business? Like, what if you're a beauty channel and you thought about collaborating with a hair salon, with like a local cosmetics store? What if you are a cooking channel and you thought about working with a restaurant? Again, one, like, you might have a cool content. Maybe you get to use their kitchen. A friend of mine, of course, and Video Influencers co-founder Benji has collaborated with, he's cooked steaks in kitchens of restaurants. And he maybe got a little exposure off of that, but what else did he get? He got really good content. He got a cool kitchen. He got an interesting show, an interesting story for his YouTube channel. So local business collaborations, local creatives. What if you collaborate with a local photographer or a local student in a media program at your local university or even at high school? Local drone pilots, local videographers. And what about people in a complementary niche? So what if there is somebody that's doing fashion and maybe lifestyle and beauty, but you do tech, but you are great at flying drones, so you could get them a cinematic trailer for their channel. So you can exchange value and realize that then people from their channel might want to learn the tech tips that you're giving, and they want that awesome cinematography that you can deliver because you happen to have a drone that you can use. Just somebody who's in a complementary niche. What about influencers on a different platform? And so recently I met someone here in Vegas that has influence on Instagram but doesn't have influence on YouTube. And so we're connecting, and we're going to collab, and then could shout out from my influence that's on YouTube, but she's got Instagram. I can grow my Instagram. She can grow her YouTube. It's win-win. And it's different platforms of social influence. And then just interesting people and experts. What if you brought someone on your YouTube channel that just has expertise, that just has knowledge? That could be a huge way to collaborate with someone. And again, never forget that channels grow one subscriber at a time. So when you collaborate with just somebody that maybe they don't have a huge YouTube channel, but they're going to tell their friends and family, they're going to share it. Maybe they can share it with their network on LinkedIn or send it to their email address, which brings 100 new views to your channel and 3 of those people subscribe. Friends, that is how you grow your influence online. All right. Another aspect, though, a couple other pieces of feedback from this survey was, Abs Tech said, well, how do you find the right people to collaborate with? Like, how do you actually find people, Jade asked, in my niche? And here's my personal 3 favorite ways to find collabs. And the first one is meetup.com. So if you've never signed up for a Meetup account, do it today. It's awesome. So I logged in 25 miles of Las Vegas where I am. I typed in video and look at all these groups. Las Vegas Video Production, Las Vegas Video Production Group, amazing Las Vegas cosplayers. Come on, here on YouTube, whether it's gaming, whether it's maybe cosplay, whatever, you might have something going on in your own city that you could get started with doing collabs with and finding people locally using Meetup. So I like to search video, social media, YouTube, entrepreneur, business, or just your niche. Again, this may be finding people who are passionate, have some talent that you could make some creative content with and things like that. The other one is online. Facebook groups, Twitter, YouTube comments, niche forums. I think YouTube comments is one of the most underutilized way to find collaborations. Here's what I mean. I actually I follow, say, like Gary Vaynerchuk, somebody, an entrepreneur in my life. I love his channel. I love his content. And so I was looking at his YouTube comments. I saw someone's comment, clicked on their channel, and reached out to them. And now here's what I did. I didn't just reach out to them and say, hey, man, I want to collab. I just reached out to them to just say, hey, I love your content. And just to make that first step is not, hey, I want to collab. That's a mistake. It was just like, hey, love your stuff. Let's connect. Maybe follow each other back on Twitter. And that's like stage 1. Then a week goes by. But that's what I did because obviously Gary is in the stratosphere of the size of his channel. But this person was, much smaller, and it seemed like it was a good fit. I legitimately love their vibe. So it wasn't spammy. It wasn't weird. But you're going to discover quality people in the YouTube comments of the influences in your niche, of the channels in your niche that attract the same kind of people that you would want to collaborate with. Makes sense? And so that's the same true in niche forums, searching Twitter hashtags, searching the hashtags of events in your niche and things like that. Number 2, live events, or this is number 3, YouTube conferences, industry events, local events. I know it costs money. I know you might have to get on a plane or get on a bus or get a hotel room. And if you can't do it now, that's fine. But there's nothing that beats meeting in person. As social media continues to take over our lives and we spend all our time online, offline relationships are everything. The difference, I think, between people who really succeed in the future and those who don't, the people who succeed are going to prioritize offline relationships and prioritize getting to local events, physical events, so they can get face-to-face with people. Make a connection first before you ever ask for a collab. And so those are a few tips there. Now, another aspect of this was like, well, how do you actually collab with somebody, though, if you can't get to them locally? So number 1, Wild said finding people to do in the same state. So we shared some tips on that. But William's like, well, how do you find people who don't live so far away? Or how do you find people who are not on the other side of the world that actually speak the same language? And so one option you have is the distance collab. And so this is like Google Hangouts. Like you can do that with anybody at any time, wherever they are around the world. Secondly, you could just swap footage. And what you could do is just over Dropbox or Google Drive, get on the phone, get on Google Hangouts, but turn on your nicer camera, record the video, and then send the footage over Google Drive. Now, another idea is a compilation video. What if you have a few influencers send you footage and you make it into one video? And when I say influencers, I mean you. If you have 5 subscribers, you're an influencer. You're influencing 5 people. So if you only have 1,000 subscribers. What if you asked people of similar size, 500, 1,200, 700, and you had an idea and you said, hey guys, send me your footage and I'll make it into one video and I'll put it on my channel, and you just put it into a compilation video. That would be a distance collab where the footage is just transferred over Dropbox or Google Drive or something like that. All right, but I want to share 3 big collaboration mistakes. And again, we are going to get to your questions. If you're getting value, smash that like button. Let me know what's happening in the live chat. I see you, Intune Parenting, Life of Mike. I see you, Sabex Tiger. Thanks for hanging out. And if you're here on the replay, thanks for being here. Let me know in the comments if you're getting value out of this training. But I want to talk about 3 big collaboration mistakes, and then we will do some Q&A in just a second. And here's my question for you though. How many collabs have you done? How many collaborations have you done? I'm curious, based on just those who are able to join us here live, how many? Is it 0? Is it 55? Is it, so I see a 0. Let me know, how many collaborations have you done? None yet, 0. One person, Adam's like, I've done a few in the past. One said 1, Crucial said 0. Okay, that's kind of what I thought. And we're talking about the biggest mistakes, right? So like the biggest collaboration mistakes. And by far the biggest mistake I see is people only focusing on reaching out to influencers that are much larger than you. I think this is a huge mistake. And here's one of the reasons is from a lot of you, and I see some, some say 5, some say 1. But if you've never done a collaboration before, work on just getting 1 done before you reach out to your dream collaboration. You got to get some under your belt, right? Build your portfolio of collaboration so you can get better. And that's why I mean, collaborate. If you have 10 subscribers, collaborate with someone that has 11, or 3. Get some collaborations under your belt, because that's one of the biggest actions you can take. And so what's stunning to me is if you've done 0 collaborations, but yet you reach out to somebody huge and hey, let's collaborate. You don't have experience yet. You haven't done it yet. And that's not bad. It's not bad to not have experience, but this is the biggest mistake. I see people do this all the time. They're only focusing on trying to get shouted out by a huge channel. You know what I mean? And so that's a huge mistake. So work on, now it's not that you can't work with big channels, and always shoot for, the moon or shoot for the stars and maybe you'll hit the moon. But I think that it'd be smarter to work more, not only to reach out. Here's an interesting thought. Not only to reach out channels of your same size, but reach out to channels that are smaller than yours, right? You're well, I only have 23 subscribers. Great. Reach out to a channel with 5. 3 of their subscribers might subscribe to you. You're at that stage. That makes sense. At least it does to me. Number 2, giving up too soon. Let me ask you now in the comments too, how many times are you reaching out for collaborations per week? Maybe how many tweets are you sending? How many emails are you sending? How much time are you spending in forums? How many asks per week? Be honest. Give me an honest thing here. How many per week are you sending? Are you asking for? And smart. So I'm hearing another one. I see one person says 0, right? So. And again, now maybe you don't want collaborations, but if you say 0, Everyday Man Tech, 0. So if, number 1, if you ask 0 times, you're going to get 0 results. But here's the other thing. One person says 5. Now, to be honest, I just don't think that's enough actions. You know what I mean? If you only reach out 5 times, you might get all no's. But what would happen if you reached out 100 times? 100 times in a week. Do you think you could maybe get 2? That's a 2% yes rate, and you dramatically increase your chances of someone saying yes if you increase your asks. And I don't mean bulk spamming multiple people. I mean quality, thoughtful, intentional reaching out, which really leads us to number 3, and that is reaching out wrong. So I got a YouTube comment that said, "Can I collab with you?" That's what the full comment said. "Can I collab with you?" double question mark. Now, no problem for saying that. And to be honest, it's not, your fault. You're not bad for asking that, or, the person who asked that. But there's no details there. There's no open loop there. Just, can I collab with you? And so when I say reaching out wrong, what I mean is no thoughtfulness, not maybe a couple sentences, not 100 sentences, but maybe 3 sentences. Sean, I love your stuff. And I also noticed that you love the band Made in Heights. Well, it just so happens that I have a signed copy. You know, I'm just making that up, but like thoughtfulness, like you've researched the person and you like know about them and you put some thoughtfulness in, and then you said, you know, I'm going to be in Vegas and I just got, I just ordered a new drone. I know you fly drones. Let's fly them together or something. That at least there's some thought put into it. That is what you want to do more often, thoughtfulness. Number 2, no research. Research the person first. Do you know what they like, what their favorite things are? You know, have you researched their channel? Have you watched their content? Have you, put in the time? That's going to help you comment better, reach out better. And then also just know clarity. Like, can I collab with you? Well, about what? When? Why? Why are you interested? What makes you pick me? How do I know that you're not just copying and pasting that on 100 channels? Well, that just makes me maybe feel like I'm being used. Like you're just spamming channels all over the place with no thoughtfulness. I hope this is like, maybe it's kind of a little, I'm not trying to be like intense, but this is important, right? It's reaching out wrong if you don't give maybe some clarity. And lastly, some creativity. Like that's not creative. Can I collab with you? It's not creative. Like put out some creativity into the reach out and you'll get better results. And so now obviously like this is just an introduction to collaborations and there's a lot more that goes into it, but I think this will get you some value. But let me know, I'm curious, like if you've enjoyed this training, is it okay if I share with you like how you could get some advanced training, how you could really learn some things? Because again, I realize like people don't know. People don't know how to reach out. Like if you've never really studied it, if you've never practiced it, thank you, Information Technology, saying this train's fantastic. Russ says yes. Yeah, people are saying yes. Like, okay, so if you want to hear more and more training, if we wanted to take some of these things to the next level, if you specifically enjoyed this training, and obviously there's so much more that goes into collaborations, then you're really going to love what I have for you next. And I mentioned at the beginning of this that we just launched a brand new mini course, and I'm excited. I'm so pumped about it. And it's called Crush Collabs. And what it is actually an online training course, and it's a 4-part video training designed to help you grow your influence online through collaboration and interviews with influencers. And so what exactly is included in the program? Well, in video 1, we talk about 7 creative ways to do collaboration. So, we kind of mentioned like reaching out over Dropbox. Just kind of go in depth into 7 different ways to do collaborations that you probably may have not thought about before. Now, the bulk of this training was recorded at a recent YouTube conference that I spoke at, but it also goes much beyond that because I also go into how to get collabs and interviews with influencers, 5 strategies for actually how to get people to say yes, how to land those interviews or collaborations. And then video 3 is just about interviews. If you followed Think Media for very long, you know that I have another channel with Benji Travis called Video Influencers. And even in the past, I did a project called Think International. Personally, I've interviewed over 400 different influencers and even some online celebrities and celebrities. And so this training's all about actually how to reach out to them. And specifically, if you'd want to start doing interviews, which I believe you should consider. No matter what your niche is, it's definitely something that would be very valuable. Then in the 4th video, we talk about 3 power tips for getting collaborations, out of the box strategic ideas for landing collaborations. Plus, there's a few cool bonuses. And this is where it gets really, really cool, right? I have a couple downloads inside of Crush Collabs with swipe-worthy Twitter strategies. So you can actually see how I word my tweets, the conversations that I've had with people on Twitter, how I reach out, what I say to get collaborations. And you could just copy those, plug in your name and your words in your niche, and just take those for me. Like ethically steal those, my Twitter strategies. Also, my email swipe file. So my influencer outreach email swipe file, the emails I send, like the actual emails, you'll see those, plus a framework and a structure so you could send those same emails so they're brief. Because you never want to send an email that's long because people just zone out, but you also don't want it to be too short. So how can it have like the minimum effective dose for actually really, getting people to say yes? And then the reach out video case studies. These are actually videos I've sent to influencers, whether Grant Cardone, and then he ended up coming on our show, or Gary Vaynerchuk, and I got on the Ask Gary V show. And you could actually see the videos, so you could just see what I said and, use it just as like a template or a framework for sending people videos over, say, Twitter video or like an unlisted YouTube video that's emailed to a person. And so you get some cool bonuses like that. So this program, when you add it all up with the 4 videos plus the bonuses, you can see that, it's a total value of at least $223. This is stuff I've never shared before, and it's stuff that I've been doing interviews and collaborations for years now, and I wanted to give you the fast track, like how to go further faster and actually do this. But we wanted to put together just like a super cool special because we're just launching this too. Like, so we wanted to kind of get a group in, and I got some cool stuff to announce in just a second as well. But we wanted to just completely slash that, like just hook it up so that you could get access to this training for the price of like 4 drinks at Starbucks. And so if Crush Collabs is right for you today, for $20, we're just doing a limited time special. You get access to the full training, all the bonuses, $20, and you could get access at crushcollabs.com, or there's a link in the description below, and you get instant access to all the videos. $20 USD, also international. And I talked about kind of an exclusive one-time bonus. Super pumped about this. This is just for people who jump in right now and before we do this live one-time hangout. So you probably have specific challenges, specific issues. And when you go through the course, you still might get, maybe stuck on something, or you're curious about something. We got you covered. So we're going to be doing a one-time private online group live Q&A session, all about collabs, interviews, giving you some time to dive into the course, reach out, see what your results are, get some people to say yes, but maybe also encounter some challenges, and then we'll help you just break through barriers and get results. But that is happening at the end of September. And so once that happens, it's just a one-time bonus for those who join right now and take advantage of Crush Collabs. So if you want to jump in, crushcollabs.com, and we'll do Q&A in just a second, guys. Get instant access. It's over there. And of course, as anything that we ever put out, 100% satisfaction, risk-free guarantee to check out that program. And also, we're doing a giveaway. And so if you would like to possibly win we're giving away 2 free memberships for Crush Collabs. And here's how you enter. You go over to my Instagram at Sean Cannell and comment on my latest post. Now, the question on my latest post is, who would you love to collaborate with? So answer the question, right? It could be anybody. It could be an author, speaker. It could be a YouTuber. It could be anybody at all. It could be a brand. I would love to collaborate with Zan Roby or something, like anything at all. Who would you love to collaborate with? To enter the giveaway, comment on my latest post. And here's the thing. If you want to just make sure you take advantage of this special, you can register for Crush Collabs. If you win the giveaway, we will just refund and get you your money back, right? So it's not bad if you enter and to wait. And we'll be picking, again, 2 free memberships to Crush Collabs. The way you enter, make sure that you're following me on Instagram, and then you comment on the latest post that looks like that, and you can enter to win as well. Hey, we got Q&A, and we got a few minutes to answer your questions about these things. And Heather is here with me, helping me see your questions. So I have a couple questions. Jeff Wright said, I purchased yesterday. It rocks. The best $20 I've ever spent. I can't wait to share it with my team. Jeff, thank you so much. Super grateful that Crush Collabs has been a helpful program for you. I'm excited about it. And I really do believe, right? Collaboration is multiplication. So when you start doing this, when you put in the work, you put in the hustle, and you start to collaborate, you're going to get great results. And so let's jump into your questions. And if you want to check out Crush Collabs, links and everything is in the description below, or crushcollabs.com. Jonathan asks, how do I find YouTubers my size to collaborate with me in the same area? Well, Jonathan, what I like to do, and one of the things that I have is I have a Google Doc of my collaborations. It's actually very long now because sometimes it's different categories. There is actually brands I want to collaborate with, YouTubers I want to collaborate with, social media influencers I want to collaborate with, authors, events. And so it's broken down into categories. And for one of the things that I'm building is a list of YouTubers in Vegas, which is in my area, right? And so always be building a list. How do I find them? Well, I do searches on YouTube. It's not the best. That's very hard. YouTube could do a lot better job of helping people find people locally. So Twitter is a great one. Instagram is a great one. And learning how to use those platforms to find people locally is a great one. Then the other thing would be to try to find local events where they would go. And you could find other YouTubers. Now, I do realize that some cities probably have a greater concentration than others, but you got to just keep looking and it builds out over time. So just to give you an example, when it started a couple years ago on my Las Vegas YouTubers list, it was about like 10 people. Now it's over 100. And I found some at live events, and I found different tribes, and a conference came to Vegas, and I was like, I didn't know about you guys. And it's crazy because it's sometimes you just got to continually always be putting in the work and apply a lot of the tips I shared meetup.com in this training, and always be building your list. Podcast Stage says, if you want to collab with someone, how do you get them to be okay if you have 40K subs as opposed to their 300 or 500? How do you get them to notice the value you're offering? A couple things. Number one, don't just only have one person you're reaching out to. You need way more people you're reaching out to. So if you've got 100 people, well, the one person that says no, maybe somebody else will say yes, even if they're large. Number two, maybe collaborate with more people that have 30K, 45K, 60, 20. See, that's, again, I talk kind of about like all we ever do is want to just, and you think about the motivation. Like I understand, we all know that we are in it for ourselves. Like, let's be honest. Like we do want to grow our own influence, but people are going to see through you if you're only selfish and you don't actually put the other person first. I mentioned Gary Vaynerchuk, and he has a philosophy called 51-49. And that is, he always wants to be 51% value. He never wants someone to outgive him, outvalue, give more value than he gives. So how do you give more? Just ask yourself that. How can you give more value than they give to you? If they give you 5,000 subscribers, but you give them a week of video editing, maybe you do all the heavy lifting on a creative video idea, it's a fair exchange, and even more because you put a lot of creativity into it. And obviously, I talk a lot about this in Crush Collabs and give some examples, but always be thinking about how you could just give value. And you could definitely work with people larger, but then also work with, and that's why I say get like 5 to 10 collabs under your belt, and then maybe a couple of those are super funny, super creative, super inspiring. And when you have some collaborations done, those are part of your collaboration portfolio that you could send to somebody else. And one of the most powerful things you could do is, rather than try to type out what something could be, just send one YouTube link. What I'm thinking about is something like this. Link in the email. They watch that link. They're like, dude, this is rad. Like, look at how cool that is. All right, let's do something. And it's like, rather than tell you, how about I show you? Well, the only way you could show people is if you have a couple collabs under your belt. Crazy C says, is it a good or bad idea to collaborate with someone who doesn't do the same thing on YouTube, such as DIY and lifestyle or gaming? It's best if you want to get more audience members that are of the same niche and audience, it's best to collaborate with people in the same niche and audience. The second best, though, is adjacent. So what I mean by adjacent is if I teach online video, but online video for entrepreneurs, then I can collaborate with anybody in the entrepreneur space and it'll make sense. So they don't have to even be a YouTuber. They don't have to be, but like they're also trying to maybe help people, build their income, build their influence, build their impact, but they're doing it in a different way. Does that make sense? So just adjacent. Adjacent could be they have influence on another platform, another social media arena. And so that would be the second level. But then the third level is maybe someone totally unrelated. It's still cool, could still be fun. And so you could collaborate with a musician, even though you're not a music channel. You could collaborate with literally anybody. So there's really 3 levels: exact alignment, adjacent alignment, or like unrelated, but maybe it's just fun and you still might get a less number of qualified subscribers. But a few people are like, dude, I never knew about you, and I also love your niche, even though I follow this other person. Sabeck says, Sean, I'm really curious when your first collab was with and whom. Well, that's a good question because I consider collabs different than just YouTube collabs. And I actually talk about it in the recent Think Media video, so I don't know if I want to take the time to do it here. But I would say my first collab was with people in my local city. I was collaborating with local businesses. I was collaborating with my church. I was an intern there, and I was learning video production. And through those types of things, we collaborated with other churches and even other YouTube channels as social media was starting in like 2007, 2008. And so a lot of early stuff like that. And then one of the stories I tell in that video, if you haven't seen my most recent video from CVX Live, it's just a preview. If you actually want to get a preview of what's in Crush Collabs, at least the first part, the most recent video on Think Media, and we'll put it up on the YouTube card as well, wherever that is. And you can see that video. I kind of tell the story of how I met Benji, not with even the intent to collab, by the way. And I think intent matters. Like I wasn't like, oh, I didn't know they had big social media influence, Benji and Judy Travis, but I started to help them with video production. And so that was a collab. But even before that, Think International, which is the YouTube channel that's still out there, tons of collabs there. The partnership with Jeff Moores when we launched that. I mean, I guess so it's kind of a hard question to ask because there's been so many, but I don't just view it as like one YouTuber and another YouTuber. I view collabs as much broader, and I think that could be very powerful. Guys, we have time for a couple more questions. If you have any questions, get them in, and I'm excited to talk about those. If you want to enter this giveaway, all you got to do is follow me on Instagram and comment on my latest post. We're giving away 2 copies of our brand new mini course called Crush Collabs. And if you want to get access to that, it's at crushcollabs.com. We're doing a special just to get this, like, first at the launch of this program. We just want to give you insane value, give you access to the entire training, of course, risk-free, for just 4 lattes at Starbucks, right? And so questions. Hope you're doing good. If you're getting value, can you smash that like button? And if you've got a question, let us know. Life of Mike, thanks for being here. Real Rap with Reynolds, thanks for being here. ADV Games, thanks so much for being here. Easy DC, appreciate you guys. Car Galaxy Studios says, also, any comments on how to collaborate with music artists, especially the copyright barons like Sony Music? Does YouTube have any roadmap for splitting income with copyright claims? I don't think I can. I avoid anybody that is in SoundScan. So I avoid Sony and the big labels because, yeah, there's so much legal red tape around that, and you use the music and then it gets flagged, and then now your ads are still on it, but the money goes to them. So my favorite thing, Car Galaxy Studios, is to collaborate with a lot of indie artists. There's so many artists that want to grow their influence on SoundCloud, get the word out about their music on Bandcamp, that want to collaborate with YouTubers because they can get more exposure to their music. So they'll let you use their music for free and things like that. But then what if you took it to another level? Again, what if you biz dev with them a little bit, talk about them maybe sharing your video and you calling out their music, etc. Like, build a relationship and really build that out. And what's exciting is I am so inspired by the amount of good music on planet Earth right now. Like SoundCloud, young artists, young hustlers, old artists, people of all different ages are putting out some incredible music that's on just SoundCloud, Spotify, indie artists. And so that's personally my strategy. Simply Blissful Living asks, would you recommend asking the same person more than one time to collaborate? For instance, I asked a few YouTubers but haven't had a response yet. Should I try again? I would. So I'd recommend spacing it out. You know, don't tweet them every day. Don't be obnoxious. Don't be annoying, but be thoughtful and be intentional. I like to do about once a quarter, and I like to also look at the timing. So the one thing I'll notice is that sometimes just be open for the serendipity of timing to somebody that you want to connect with. Sometimes you can tell someone all of a sudden is doing like a batch of responding on Twitter. That might be a good time to get noticed because maybe they only look at their Twitter for a 1 hour block during the month, but you're on and you're like, man, there's all this action. They're going back and forth with people. That might be a time to like get on their radar. The other thing is to realize, never assume that they're saying no and ignoring you. Assume they didn't see it. Like, I always like to just be positive, even if they did see it and they are ignoring me. I just know people are so busy and they get so much inbound. Just assume they didn't see it and then keep asking patiently. And then the last thing is always try to do the opposite of what everybody's doing. You know, swim upstream. Everybody's doing the same thing and just saying, will you collab with me? And like putting no thought into it. So think about ways of sending a video, sending an image, creating a cool image so the tweet's a little bit bigger and it's like creative of some way. You know, try to just put creativity into how you reach out. And the last thing is, what I've noticed a lot for me is a lot of times the conversation will start on social media, but if possible, it can go to another level at a live event. And even if you can't get to a live event, just so you know the mentality of a lot of people, sometimes I'll say, hey, I'll meet him, I'll run into him at the live event, like Vlogger Fair in Seattle. And I'll be like, yeah, I tweeted you a couple times. They're like, oh, dude, I saw that, but like, I was so busy. You know, I'm so glad we're talking now. And so like people are busy, like they see it. And so, yeah, be patient, space it out. And so on our Google Doc, and even for video influencers, we've had people that we've been trying to interview for 2 years, and we're just patient. We're not trying to overwhelm them. Also, keep building your own influence. We've been trying to interview him for 2 years. We asked when we were at 10K. Now have more subscribers than that. So maybe there'll be a tipping point where it'll be a yes for them. Don't just hope that collabs will be the saving factor of your channel. Always be hustling, good content, get views, other training here on Think Media and Video Influencers. Grow your influence so you have more authority for collabs, but don't hesitate to reach out now as well. So, guys, I just thank you for being here. I think we might be able to take another question or so, and then I hope you have a phenomenal day. If you're on the rebroadcast, thanks for being here. If you got value out of this, can you smash that like button? I am looking to see if I can see your comments, and thank you for hanging out today. Question from Super Chat. Thank you so much, Podcast Stage. Super grateful for that Super Chat. And I appreciate it a lot, dude. It's just super awesome to hang out with you guys here. And it means a lot to me that you'd be here, whether live or even on the rebroadcast. I love this. And I'm very passionate about getting you results, sharing you the best information, really the best tips and tools that I want to test myself. I want you to know it's so important for me to be a player coach. When people start teaching, but they stop doing the work themselves and they're teaching off of success that they had 1 or 2 years ago, I stop following those people because I don't think they're in the trenches anymore. And so I want you to know that I always want to pass along the best information, whether here free on Think Media or whether in some of our advanced training that I'm doing, that I'm actively doing, that I've got a collab, I think, happening next Saturday. We're finishing up the details today, and so just like actually doing this stuff and then teaching out of my experience and then being able to teach out of every level. Because you might say, well, Sean, you have 300,000 subscribers on Think Media. Like, I can't relate to that. But the cool thing is that I've been on the climb. Like in October 2015, not that long ago, I had 16,000 subscribers on Think Media. And so I've been, if you will, and before that, and I started with 0 subscribers. You did, I did, so did PewDiePie. Everybody started with 0 subscribers. So I've climbed the mountain. I continue to climb. I've got the gear on. I'm putting in the work. I'm hustling as a player, but I also, as you know, if some of you see me as a coach, and I want to pass along the best information for you. So I appreciate that this is valuable information, and I'm just super grateful for you guys and for this community. Jose says, how do you go about compensation value exchange? To have an interview, should you offer payment? So I've never paid anyone for a collab. What I have done is, in the entrepreneur space, if someone's launching a book, I have bought bulk books for them, like bought 10 copies, bought 20 copies to give to friends, because that helps. What do they want? They want to get the word out about their book, and I would love to have them on our show. So that's kind of like thinking, what's the win for them? And knowing, that's a good example. Do you know that they want to launch a book? What project do they want to promote? What do they want to launch? What can you promote for them or invest in that can be really, really, really helpful? And so, guys, the final details, if you want to check out Crush Collabs, just go to crushcollabs.com. Again, if you jump into this program now, you're going to get an exclusive one-time. We're going to be able to do Q&A like this, go a lot deeper, make sure your questions get answered after you've gone through the training. So jump in, crushcollabs.com, link in the description below. And if you want to enter to win a copy of 2 free memberships to Crush Collabs, just follow me on Instagram, comment on my latest post. And if you could also do that even if you jump into the course, because if you do and you win, we will we'll just refund you. You get your money back. So it's kind of a win-win, but definitely wanted to give back, give some value, give away a couple memberships. Very excited about Crush Collabs. And question of the day, what is your biggest tips for collabs and what is your biggest challenge when it comes to collabs? Either question, here's what I need you to do. Live chat disappears. So when we jump off, if you could do me a favor, come back to the video, leave the question of the day in the actual comments of the video, which you can't do yet, but once the replay pops up, you can do it. It means the world to me if you do that, because I hate that live chat disappears, so I can't go back through your comments and see what everybody said and connect. But that is the question of the day. If you want to go to get access to Crush Collabs, it's at crushcollabs.com. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I'm here for you, helping you build your influence, income, and impact with online video. Definitely check out new content on video influencers. Check out content here on Think Media. And we're excited to keep helping you go further, faster. Appreciate you. Excited for future live streams. We love your ideas for future live streams on the comments in just a second when the video pops back out. And in the meantime, keep crushing it. Keep smashing it. Appreciate you. And we will talk soon. Later.